Welcome back to the Kind of Funny Screencast. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes, and I'm joined by, it is Christmas in August, Joey Noel.
Hello, happy Thursday? Is that what today is? Thursday.
It is Thursday, a new day for
know.
Marvel shows on Disney Plus. Going forward, Star Wars shows seem to be on Tuesday nights and Marvel shows on Wednesday nights. Pretty nice for people like me that stay up till midnight to watch them. It was a rough run with Kenobi and Miss Marvel, let me tell you that. You know, having to stay
and
up.
now you and Andor, separate nights.
Separate nights, man. You got to love it. Because the problem is, I watch one of them, then I watch the other one, then I go to bed and I can't sleep because I'm thinking about the damn things. So it's not just 2 a.m. I'm going to bed. It's like freaking 4 a.m. It's just not worth it. Isn't that right, producer/deducer Nick Scarpino?
It is right, Tim. And this show, I'm happy to say, went by at a very, very fast clip, which is nice. I enjoyed watching it. And I was actually very excited to wake up this morning and hang out with you guys to talk about it.
Hell yeah, because that's exactly what we do here on the Kind of Funny Screencast. Of course, this is our show where we talk about the latest in TV, movies, and trailers. It's a full spoiler show. We get right into all of the fun stuff right away. You can get this on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. You can also get it as a podcast by searching your favorite podcast service for Kind of Funny Screencast, and we'll be right there for you. If you wanted to get the show ad-free, if you wanted to watch live as we record it, you're going to have to go to patreon.com/kindoffunny, just like our Patreon producers, Fargo, Brady, and Molecule have done. Today, we're brought to you by Shopify and Uplift, but I'll tell you about that later. Just a little housekeeping for you. Screencast, let me not even put this lightly. It's about to pop the fuck off in the coming weeks. We are going to attempt, and I say attempt because I am sure there's going to be scheduling things that get in the way of this, but we are going to attempt in the following months to cover every single episode of She-Hulk, Andor, Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragons, I think it's called, and Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. There's going to be a couple beautiful weeks where all 4 of those shows are happening at the exact same time. Andor is about a month away. We have next week starts Lord of the Rings. But y'all, Nick, are you ready for this? Game of Thrones starts this Sunday.
That's crazy. I did not even realize that. Time is just going by. We need to rewind this year by about 6 months. That would be preferable. Joey, make it happen.
January.
Yeah, that'd be the bomb.
Or is it the opposite of January? Is that the other one? Is January where January feels like June?
Too early in the morning. Don't ask me to do math.
What would be the other? So January, what would be the other one? Just like Juan? January.
January.
I don't know. Whatever. Things about to pop off. So you're going to want to be subscribed to youtube.com/kindoffunny and to the Screencast podcast feed. Go check that out. We're going to have a whole bunch of fun guests on a bunch of the different shows to be able to cover it too. I'm just going to reveal it here. And again, things can change. But right now, the plan for Lord of the Rings is Andy Cortez hosting alongside Elise Willems and Lucy James. So, hey.
How perfect.
Yeah.
That is like exactly the crew of people I think about when I think about Lord of the Rings. And
exactly.
as someone who doesn't really care about Lord of the Rings, I'm very excited for them and I'll maybe listen.
Yeah. There you go. Glowing endorsement for Joey Noel. Maybe she'll listen. I hope you guys
feel like it's hard
to
to watch the show if I've never watched the other movies.
I think you might actually, it might be interesting to watch that show though, going blind and not know anything about it. Because the movies are they're such an investment that it might be kind of cool to start it. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to give it a shot for sure.
Well, something we all actually gave a shot for sure is She-Hulk episode 1. It just came out. This is a 9-episode series on Disney Plus. They are going to be more shorter sitcom style episodes, aiming to hit that 30-minute mark. And yeah, episode 1 is out now. Joey Noel, I want to start with you. What did you think of episode 1?
Okay, so this is the first time that I've ever been on this show, so I can talk about spoilers right away.
We're spoiling away. It's spoiling away.
Talk. Okay, I'm excited about this. I surprisingly really liked it. I was not expecting that because I feel like going into the show, this was the one that I was like the least excited about. And I think that's happened with like a couple shows. I think I'm reaching kind of like my saturation point with Marvel stuff a little bit. But I actually had a really good time. I liked her character a lot in the sense that it's like an adult woman just living her life. Like she just seems very normal. And I feel like a lot of times with women in the MCU, you're either your storyline is either based in like extreme trauma or like being a love interest for somebody. And it was nice that for her, she's neither really. And she's just like an adult living her life and like trying to navigate things, and then has this like scenario kind of put upon her. I thought that Tatiana Maslany, is that how you say her name?
Maslany, I think.
Maslany. Okay. I think she's super funny. I've never watched her in anything else. I didn't watch Orphan Black. I think that she's really fun. It is like a little bit heavy on the exposition, which I think a episode 1 issue, and I'm hoping that once it gets past that, it'll be fine. But I had a really great time. And truly, I knew that this was a Joey show when we got to the conversation of her and Bruce in the car, and she's like giving her theory, which is a conversation I have also had with my friends of like, and if I had a cousin that was a Avenger, I would absolutely be asking like, does Cat fuck? Like, and I was like, this is a Joey show through and through. And that was solidified also by the end, ending the episode with the Eve song.
Oh, Joey, not only the Eve song, but the song sampling Fast Like a NASCAR during the training montage.
Yeah, right?
Like,
oh my gosh.
I was like marking out like this is a Joey ass show, and I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a great time. I would probably give it like a 4 on the Joey scale, like kind of funny review scale. I'm excited to watch other ones because I know that people have said that it kind of like gets into its own after you get past the first episode. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Nicholas Scarpino.
Yeah, I think pleasantly surprised is a good way to put it. Right, these shows always kind of hit a specific mark with me, and this one I was. Let's put it this way: I was like, it's midnight. Do I want to eat snacks right now? I'm trying to be a little healthier. And about 5 minutes into this, I was like, you know what? This is worth the snacks. I enjoyed it. It's very self-aware. Obviously, she has that style where she addresses the camera. I thought Tatiana was great. I thought her chemistry with Mark Ruffalo was great. I always think it's easier to ease new characters in when you do it with older characters by their side. And obviously having her, we saw this with Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner. They had great chemistry. Tatiana and Mark Ruffalo have great chemistry. I know he's probably not going to be in it for the rest, but it doesn't matter to me because you've set up this character. This episode was her origin story, which was cool. She addresses that right off the bat, which is fun. And then we get the back and forth with them, which I always just think is sort of the heart of Marvel movies, right? Like I know the action's great and it's super fun to see everyone fighting each other and Ant-Man being big and or small. But to me, the heart of Marvel is really the character dynamics and the interactions between them. And this is a fascinating setup. This is cool to see her sort of being like, hey, I don't want to be this. I want to be a lawyer. That's how I want to make my mark on the world. That's how I want to help people. I'm a district attorney, and I want to put criminals in jail, and I want to go after fat cats and corrupt politicians and whatnot, and make some enemies that way. And so it's going to be cool to see. I'm interested to see how they set up that conflict with her, because that I think is going to be the main conflict of the show. Right? Is how do you rectify the fact that you are She-Hulk, you are a Hulk, which first off I love that it's like, look, you're a Hulk, right? It's like being a Scarpino, right? It's like, oh, it's the coolest thing ever. But how do you rectify that with just wanting, like, it's interesting. It's an interesting question. What if you had superpowers, but you don't want to be a superhero? You just want to be the thing you wanted to be your entire life and you trained for and you have student debt for, which is a lawyer. And so I'm interested and I want to watch the rest of this.
Yeah, this show, I was I think higher going into it than a lot of people were, based on the trailers and stuff, and it definitely even exceeded what I expected from it. I really loved this. I don't think it's perfect. I think the editing of some of the action scenes, especially the last one, was like a little rough, but I also feel like that is going to be addressed later, and I think we're going to get that character Titania a bit more.
Yeah, she kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and
it was a
kind
weird
of
way to intro.
And it was just
villain,
like a
right?
pretty abrupt situation of like of She-Hulk kind of like rectifying her whole am I a lawyer, am I a Hulk? It kind of felt like that whole question was like answered at the end of this episode, which is weird pacing wise, but also like, hey, cool, maybe we just get that stuff out of the way so we don't need to deal with it. And I kind of appreciate the levity that this show treats those decisions with, because for a 30-minute episode of an MCU show, which now we've seen many hour-long episodes and what they do and the kind of meander and stuff, this got so much done. And I feel like it got so much done in terms of lore, in terms of plot, in terms of jokes, in terms of characters, old and new, being endearing. And I'm super sold on Tatiana. Like, I thought she was absolutely fantastic in this. And the utmost compliment I can give in these shows is being introduced to a character where I'm like, I can't wait to see you in a movie. I can't wait to see you in a bigger ensemble cast with the other characters that we love. And immediately off the bat, she has earned that. And if it wasn't earned throughout the episode, it was absolutely earned in the post-credit scene where she just like, that is going to be one of those like iconic moments of the MCU.
It's
with
been
her
so
saying,
long since I mean, I guess it hasn't been that long since Miss Marvel, but I missed the post-credit scene.
"Oh, this,
yeah, I
Joey,
just
pull it up right
Joey,
now.
you need to pull it up
Pull
right
it
now.
up
It's
right now."
hilarious.
I don't.
Well,
I was just so like, I think distracted.
you always
by
got to
talking
scroll to
about
the
it.
end. You always got to scroll to the end,
I
Joe.
know,
Just
and
in case.
I'm like disappointed in myself that I forgot about that.
This is a great one. I don't even want to ruin it for you. I want you to watch it while I talk
Okay.
to
It's
Tim
great.
about this. Yeah, it's interesting because I think, I mean, obviously I want to watch the next episode, but that is the only criticism I have is that it does feel like they're rushing this along. I would have, now granted, you know, 20 years ago, we would have had 2 seasons of her grappling with her secret identity as the Hulk and trying to hide it from everyone. And then Iron Man came around. It's like, well, do we really need that? Do we really need to see her trying to hide that from all of her friends? But I do think I wish there would have been one moment where like a cliffhanger for this episode where what's Jamal's character's name? Titania. Where she comes in and busts in and like tries to grab the bad guy or whatever, or the judge, and then her friend's like, you got to do the thing. She's like, I can't do the thing, and like, you know, a little bit more tension there, and then her eyes go green, and that's the end of the episode where it's like, oh gosh, she doesn't want people to know this, but because it does seem like she was just like, whatever, people if they know it, it's cool, but then it kind of deflates the purpose of like any conflict with her being conflicted being She-Hulk. Having said that, though, we only have 30 minutes of real estate here, so we got to kind of move it along. So it is kind of fun, gratifying to see that. I actually think if you were going to cut something out in this episode to pad out the end, I would have cut out the Hulk fight a little bit. I thought that was kind of weird that they were like going fists to cuffs, and it kind of felt, I don't know, it kind of felt like at the end of it, they obviously resolved it like brothers and sisters fight, even though they're cousins. But I was like, I didn't need that part because I thought that the conflict between those two, them just actually like arguing with each other with logic was the more interesting thing to me. Them throwing rocks and doing competitions with each other was cool, but then actually throwing punches at each other, I was like, I don't know that I need this.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Where I feel like that was probably the weakest point of the episode for me in terms of just my engagement with it and me kind of just being like, I was like all in. And then when that was happening, I was a little bit like, okay, yeah, this is an MCU show. But I do think that they did a really good job of like just feeding the MCU nerds so many things that they're looking for. And like this show it feels like it was made for me in terms of the amount of Easter eggs, the amount of questions that it makes me think about, like dumb, stupid, jokey stuff, but also serious things. I think that to your point about the brother, sister, cousin relationship thing, like I think that they really nailed that vibe. Like I am surprised at how much I believe that this is Bruce's little cousin, Jennifer, right? And that you believe in a history that they've had together. And even just like the little moments where this show, I disagree with you just a little, Nick, about the wanting to see more of like her struggle with all that stuff, because we've seen that so many times. I like that they're like, this isn't that show. This is a fun lawyer show. Let's move on. And they even address that, right? Because I feel like it allows the more serious moments to be more just kind of like interpersonal, where it's like her talking to the Hulk about him not showing up for family things and all that. Like I like that type of just like there's this subtle background of seriousness, but otherwise they're just going to kind of like really treat this more so like an actual comedy, like a sitcom comedy than we've seen so far in the MCU. I know like a lot of MCU shows or movies and shows and everything are kind of action comedies. This kind of feels like comedy action. I hope that they lean more into the comedy and less into the action, just because I feel like that's the strength of what they can do with this, with the budget and everything. But what I did really like about the fight scene that they had was on the nerd side of things, like the return of the thunderclap, which is like the iconic Hulk move, and the dumbass like little throwbacks and references to the old movies. But like we just watched the Incredible Hulk and the Edward Norton one, and his weakness was those like sonic things, right? And it's like we see her doing the little mini thunderclaps, and it's like he's all caught up in the thunder things, just like he was in the Incredible Hulk. I'm like, fuck, man, I love it. Like this is why we invest, and this is why we rewatch all this shit. And it's like there are so many things in this show, in this one episode, that like this episode of She-Hulk might have more references to more projects in the MCU than any other project we've had so far. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's what I love.
We get what I thought was cool right off the clip. We see him with the hurt arm that he's trying to heal, by staying in his human form. And then we get the reason why that does get healed is because she has the same genetics as him. That's why she can be Hulk, but also he used her blood to sort of like the Hulk metabolized, the gamma radiation metabolized in a different way. All that felt super fun and cool. I was like, oh shit, I want to know more about this. This is pretty cool. And then he can go back to being Smart Hulk because so I guess in Smart Hulk his arm wasn't healing, so he had to be human again, which is cool to see Mark Ruffalo for a little bit. All that stuff, all the stuff. I mean, everything in this was just super fun and interesting to me. I loved my favorite part, the part that got a giggle out of me, was when they were competing against each other. And he goes, just give the rock a little toss, and then she tosses it a little farther, and he takes a big ass boulder and throws it into the stratosphere. She goes, "Oh no, yeah, you're strong, you're real strong." Like it's that total shitty little brother comment of like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not doing this right now. This is such a contest of egos. All those little things. It almost makes you wish I wish they could have gotten Mark Ruffalo as just their chemistry is so good together that. I'm hoping there's someone else in there because I guess she's got the assistant. She's got Gigi, I think is the character's name, that she can go back and forth with. They had a pretty good chemistry too.
Yeah, I guess she's gonna have a lot of other people to go back and forth with because the show is confirmed to have Matt Murdock, right, and Wong and a bunch of other people. And I do
Abomination.
Yeah, I get a little bit worried about that. Of like, that's a lot of different personalities to have in a show. So I'm hoping that it doesn't feel like kind of all over the place, or at least if it does it in a good way. But
Charlie Cox is in 8 episodes, and so is Wong. So they're going to be.
Everyone shows up tomorrow.
That can't be right.
That's what it says. It says it on the IMDb. Who knows? IMDb is.
They change them all the time.
Get changed.
Yeah.
I'm imagining they're coming in for like an episode here and there, just because. Because is she in New York? I didn't even catch where she's at.
She's in LA.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know how Charlie Cox would be there then, but
I have my theories.
Okay, you have your theories. That's great. Tim, the person I'm most excited to see though is Tim Roth, because you have to imagine that Abomination is going to be a fun back and forth. Tim Roth is a great actor also, so having him be sort of a foil that she's either defending or trying to prosecute is going to be super fun.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is, Joe, to your point, I think that the following episodes, like this is the origin, get it out of the way. I think every other episode is going to be a bit more. Like we say monster of the week, but in this it's literally case of the week. It is the lawyer show stuff, right? So I think that it's going to feel more like a Law and Order SVU or something where the different characters coming in and out isn't going to feel jarring, because it's going to kind of feel like contained, and by the end of the episode we moved on from that. Like and people that have seen the first 4 episodes have been saying that like it doesn't seem like there's this like overarching plot. It's more kind of like just dealing with her and having moments, which I think is really cool. And I like that this feels like a TV show, which is something that a lot of the other MCU shows haven't really done. They kind of feel like broken up movies. So I hope that it continues that vibe.
Yeah. I also love the like. I think has the director or showrunner or whatever talked about like the clear influence from like Fleabag and stuff like that with breaking the fourth wall? Is that like a known inspiration?
I don't know about Fleabag, but in the comics, She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Fleabag is like one of the most recent like bigger shows to kind of do that, and I feel like that adds like another fun twist and connection with the show that like we've never seen in a Marvel property before. And I think Tatiana Maslany is like the perfect person to do that. Like she just has such a charisma in all like facets of her character. I'm really excited to watch her interact with other people in the MCU. First off, I think she's gonna be fun.
Fleabag is incredible. Everyone should watch that show as well.
It's so good.
It's so good. But I love that there's this one moment in there after they're drinking and they sort of resolved and they rebuilt the bar, where he goes, if you want to go live your life, I respect that. And she turns to the camera for the first time and goes, he doesn't. And then almost has that one moment where she's like, what am I doing? And he kind of sees it too. And he's like, what's going on?
I like that he also acknowledges like the priest does of like, what are you doing? Like you can't just like get like it's not something that I can't see.
Yeah. And I'm excited about that. We'll see how that goes. Tim, what were you gonna say?
Oh, just real quick, I wanted to say a whole bunch of things, but before I say them, let me tell you about our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Shopify, who powers all of the merch on KindaFunny.com/store. Shopify is the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big business, so upstarts, startups, and established businesses alike can sell everywhere. Shopify powers millions of businesses from first sale to full scale, including KindaFunny and Rooster Teeth. Shopify has thousands of integrations and third-party apps, from on-demand printing to accounting to advanced chatbots and beyond. I love how Shopify has the tools and resources that make it easy for any business to succeed, from down the street to around the globe. Go to shopify.com/KFgames, that's all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Again, that is shopify.com/KFgames. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/KFgames right now. Shopify.com/KFgames. Now, Andy, take it away.
Shout out to Uplift for sponsoring this episode. I've been using my Uplift desk for well over a year now. I love the thing so much I decided to write a rap song for them. The build quality is real good. It's made of real high quality wood. They didn't ask for it, I just did it anyway. Getting my Uplift desk immediately improved my mood. Whenever I'm on shows, I'm standing up, I'm feeling a lot more energetic. And also I kind of feel like I was just maybe creating some bad habits sitting down at a desk all day. I would move my legs up, I'd sit underneath my legs on my chair, and eventually all that stuff just created really bad back pain for me. Choose from laminate, whiteboard, bamboo, solid wood, butcher block, or even custom solid wood or laminate options. Uplift Desk won New York Times Wirecutter's Best Standing Desk from 2019 to 2022. And while I'm at it, I'm just gonna give them an award as well. Best standing desk that I use in my bedroom from when they sent it to me until now. Uplift Desk have a 15-year warranty. They ship the same day you order with free shipping and free return shipping. So if you've been feeling the effects of sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, maybe you want some more energy in your life, maybe you want to do squats in the middle of a Zoom call or something, uplift your life. Go to kindafunny.com/uplift.
Sorry, Nick, go for it.
No, I lost my train of thought. I got to.
Sorry about that.
I got. No, it's not your fault. I got a little angel gave me a Starbucks delivery right now, and I'm just beside myself.
Talking about the fourth wall breaking things, I have a theory that's probably not going to be true, but just want to throw it out there.
Psychosis.
Her talking, and she's like talking to you and all that stuff, like where she's like talking to us. My theory is she's not talking to us. She's talking to the Watcher.
Really?
Again, I'm just throwing some stuff out there.
I mean, that'd be a deep cut, but that'd
be
cool.
so fun.
It could be cool. I mean, the fact that we're in the multiverse saga and like what they're building, I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna start building out more and more of these things.
I mean, I would love that. I mean, again, I think this show, my expectation for this show is that they just throw a bunch of stuff in there. To Tim's point, like people can come in, people can come out. We can introduce some stuff. It doesn't seem like this is not something that I want there to be a ton of stakes for the overarching MCU for. And I know that there might be, but I'm just like, this is fun. It's a fun vibe. Let's just throw some stuff at the wall and see what sticks with this. I do think that it would be, I mean, even though it is a sitcom, I do think they still need a little dramatic undertone. Like even every sitcom that's like that has a B story where she's got to grapple with this to some degree, right? There's got to be something that like at some point she has to. I think it would be a missed opportunity if they didn't have her have to make a decision between being a lawyer and being She-Hulk, you know? But maybe they don't. Maybe she's just a lawyer that's got powers every once in a while, and they just never make reference to it, which would be unique to say the least. It's not something that I've ever seen done.
Yeah, I mean, just based off the trailers of what they've shown us, it's like she's gonna kind of combine it. So I don't think it's gonna be so much grappling between the like being a Hulk, being a thing,
She-Hulk.
But it's more her grappling with like her place in the world as a Hulk lawyer, because she's going to become a Hulk lawyer.
Yeah, just coming to terms with like what's actually happening versus having to choose.
Yeah, which is going to be funny. But what I really like about this, Nick, to your point about the stakes of the MCU and all that, like I love that this show, because it is kind of just fun and these small things where like we know there's about to be cameos from characters like from every corner of the Marvel universe, essentially. Like it is able to kind of just answer questions people have had. Like we've been wondering, like, why is Bruce in human form? Like, why is his like the arm brace, all this stuff? And it's like, cool, that's answered. Like these, I like that this show can kind of be used to like start answering some things. Like when Wong shows up, I'm sure that it's going to answer questions that we've had about some things going on, and it doesn't need to be like this giant revelation that changes the MCU, but it's more just kind of like buttoning things up with some like good dialogue. And I was like, I love that type of stuff. Like even in Endgame, it's like, spent years in the Gamma Lab trying to, like figure it all out, and here I am, and it's like, cool, we saw the Gamma Lab, like now we got to get that whole story. And again, me talking about, I'm just nerding out so much about like the tidbits that they gave us of the potential things that might happen. But I like that the MCU right now, after Miss Marvel introducing the concept that she is a mutant, right? I like the idea that MCU might be making it that everyone with like innate powers is a mutant of some form. Like it's a different mutation. Like there's some dialogue in this where he was in the lab talking to her, and he was like, oh yeah, like it's in our DNA that the gamma radiation kind of allows us to be Hulks, and yours helped fix my arm or whatever. It's like, I wonder if phase 5 or wherever the hell we get there is going to explain like, oh yeah, like the mutants have been here for a long time, like Hulk is a mutant, and like that'll kind of explain a lot of the things. And it's a different take than the comics, but I feel like it can kind of clear some things up, because it is always weird how in the comics there's the X-Men and the mutants and stuff, and it always feels like they're very outside of the Avengers shit unless there's a crossover. So I like the idea of making it kind of feel like one bigger world.
Yeah, I mean, it's because X-Men are cooler, but I do think it's an interesting concept, because they'll I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but originally the X-Men, the concept behind the X-Men was that like those genetic markers were unlocked because of the nuclear weapons that were going off, right? Like back in the day, and so like you saw an increase in them because of that. And I think that could easily be something they lean into in this, where it's like, oh, people have that's a reason why people are having the powers. I think that's a really, really cool idea. Hulk being a mutant, I don't know about that. I mean, Hulk's the Hulk, you know what I'm talking about, but he could be. And then when are we going to get a Wolverine Hulk crossover? I wonder. I don't know.
Oh, we will.
Well, we're going to. It's going to be incredible. But to your point, I wanted to just go back quickly. Like, I loved that moment in the lab where he was talking about what he did during the blip, when he basically lost half of his friends and was like, I'm already a loner. And like, it's funny because you don't think of Mark Ruffalo as a loner. You kind of think of him as a nerd. And yeah, maybe he's like a little shy or whatever. And he had those interactions with Black Widow, or Natasha rather, when they were sort of will they, won't they. But for the most part, you're like, he's a pretty okay, charming guy or whatever. But you don't think of him as like, oh yeah, this has actually been a really, really lonely existence for him. And having to spend like 5 years in a lab trying to figure this out, like that was his coping mechanism. That was his way of like dealing with this massive thing that happened, which I think Mark Ruffalo did a great job just kind of sliding that in and having a little emotion there. And Tatiana was like, oh, okay, I get it. I'm not gonna give a shit for that one. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a really great way to do it, and I liked that. I liked all that stuff in that lab.
Yeah, and I mean, even in Mexico, like just the different bits that he has that reference to old movies, like he does the Natasha Lullaby reference, but like all the Tony Stark stuff, like it just, they did a good job of like playing it for laughs, but having it also kind of hit you, where it's like, I know that Stark is like the default person to bring up in the MCU to like kind of show where we are and like that we've moved on and how all these characters are dealing with it. But I love that we're seeing it from Bruce's perspective, like that being the science bros and like seeing the little BB and TS like etched in, like it's so good. And like having the helmet from the Iron Man helmet
that hit me,
Age of Ultron, like it's so cool. Like I love that those type of things are great, and it's just like it just strengthens the relationship that we already knew was good between Bruce and Tony. And like I love that Robert Downey Jr.'s presence is felt without him even being on screen. Like just seeing the etched in thing on the bar, it's like you feel Robert Downey Jr. in that,
I'll tell you what else was felt. Whatever budget they put back into the CG after everyone criticized that trailer. I don't know if that's how that worked out, but man, everything, all the CG, all the actual visuals that you can see on screen, I thought worked very, very well for a TV show, for a streaming quality show. Heck, I think some of them like rivaled some of the stuff we've seen in actual movies. I'm curious. I'm betting a lot of the budget went into this first episode as far as all that stuff is concerned, because the fight at the end kind of was like a little but man, I was like, if she's gonna be She-Hulk and this is the quality we're hitting the entire time, it's pretty good for me.
Yeah, good enough for me. I mean, especially Hulk himself, and I think that it's because they have a lot more experience rendering him and all that from the movies. But yeah, it didn't really take me out of it. I mean, it wasn't, I don't think, the best thing ever, but There was no moment that I was like, I fucking hate this show because of the CG.
No, there was moments where they were talking back and forth, and I was like, and I forgot. I was like, oh, right, that's CG. Both of those people are CG. Those aren't real actors. I thought they did a really good job. They were. We Andy and I were talking when we watched the trailer reactions and some of the scenes that are coming up. I think when she's out to dinner and stuff, some of the skin doesn't look quite right rendered, but in the light of Mexico, I thought it looked really, really good. It actually reminded me a lot of her specifically, not so much Hulk because he's got a lot of fuzz on him, but her specifically, it reminded me a lot of the painted, like what Lou Ferrigno's skin looked like painted in the original series.
Like the texture and stuff.
Yeah, the texture of it, where it was like it just looked real, which was cool. I liked it.
Yeah. A couple other things I want to bring attention to. Hulk said, "Bruh." I really liked that. And then I have go for it.
And then obviously it's canon in the MCU that people eat Cheetos with chopsticks.
Yeah, that's an important aspect.
Gia fucking lost her shit. She was like, "Let's go." I feel so seen. I'm like, good for you, G. Good for you.
It's important.
It is.
I mean, especially when your hands are green, right? Because you know the red really sticks out on green hands.
Yeah,
they're doing God's work over there.
Then I have a question for you guys. Who did Cap fuck?
Oof, that's a great. Well, for sure,
he
had
end,
to have
they
sex
talk
with.
About.
He banged what's her name? I mean, the main love squeeze. Why am I?
Peggy Carter.
Captain Carter. Yeah. So he for sure had sex with Peggy Carter, but you gotta.
Do you think he did?
Yeah, for sure. Well, at the end of Endgame, for sure he did.
Yeah,
like, we went back into the past and banged it out
yeah.
for sure.
I meant in like current, like I was thinking before the.
Okay, there's a moment where he gets all buff and she touches his bicep. Joey, that's generally how sex starts. That's how I always.
No, but they have so many awkward moments after that I don't think. No way.
No,
I don't think they
point
fucked when they were young.
No, definitely not.
You don't think so?
No.
Then did he bang the nurse from across the way?
That was the thing. I mean, they said in this that it was the USO girl, one of the USO girls.
Also, I watched the thing. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's fucking killer. It's so good.
One of the dancers, you think? Like one of his backup dancers?
Yeah, I mean, they said that in the episode that it was. But I bring this up because I haven't seen Captain America: The First Avenger in years at this point. Like since we did the last the first in review.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if this adds up, but in my mind, until someone in the comments says, "Tim, no, this isn't right because X, Y, and Z," I'm convinced it's Natalie Dormer. Remember Natalie Dormer?
Yeah. What character was she?
She plays like the nurse. Is she a nurse?
I don't remember. I just remember she did the wink thing to him.
Yeah. And then Peggy sees it, and that's when she's like anti-Cap for a little bit and like gives him a cold shoulder.
Well, I do not remember any of this, but if it is Natalie Dormer, good for everyone involved.
Yeah,
good for all of those beautiful human beings.
I don't think it's her.
I don't think it's her either, but that was my
definitely
first
Peggy.
thought.
At some point, they were like, they were in the bar, they were making out or whatever. Maybe they banged when he was a little guy. Remember, like when he was like smaller.
When he was a little guy.
He's just a little guy. Do you guys have any thoughts or any questions or theories on anything?
Your Honor, my closing argument is as follows. If they continue up with this pace and this comedy and this level of quality, I'm very much looking forward to the remainder of the shows. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, I hope that we get some like real world aspects of the MCU. I think it's the girl on TikTok who does the like funny skits about like she's like an insurance agent in the MCU and people are calling in about like Hulk smashed my car, like what do I do? And I hope that we get like, I think we're gonna get some of that in terms of like real world implications of like the crazy shit that the Avengers do. And I'm very excited about that because it's like, I think those are just the funny moments of like, oh yeah, like how does this work if you're a normal human and there's all of these like crazy inner galaxy planetary fights and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm excited to see how they fold in all of these other MCU characters too. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm so in. Can't wait for more. I do want to put my theory out there now because they're setting something up that is going to have big ramifications, and I can't believe they're doing it, and I can't believe how like on the nose they called it out in this episode. So I'm gonna say some stuff that is potential comic spoilers here. So if you don't want to hear, both you guys included, take the earphones out if you don't want this. But
Please tap your tummy when you're done spoiling things. Thank you.
We'll just close the episode after it. So hey, the episode's done after this. But the alien spaceship in the beginning that comes and whatever, it's from Sakaar, and they call out that it's from Sakaar, which is I didn't expect them to do. Like they want to make normal people aware. Like I fucking knew because I'm a goddamn nerd, and we just watched Ragnarok, and that's the same ship or different colors, but same ship style as we saw the Grandmaster's ship from Ragnarok, right? I just read the World War Hulk storyline for the first time a couple weeks ago. Fucking awesome. It's 5 issues, and it's one of the coolest stories I've read in comics, especially with the Hulk. And part of it deals with the comic version of the storyline of him going to Sakaar and fighting in the gladiatorial events and all that shit. While he's there, he has a son named Scar. And Scar's pissed off at the Hulk for leaving him, essentially. And then he comes to like hunt him down and all that. I bet you that that's what's happening here. And I think that they're going to, by the end of She-Hulk, I think they're going to set Smart Hulk on a path to become the Hulk, the old Hulk again, like a savage Hulk. And I think they're going to build up a World War Hulk thing with him versus his son or something. And it's going to be fucking awesome. But the fact that they just had this alien ship come be her origin story, and we moved on, and none of us even brought it up until now, I think is very funny. That it was just her origin story was an alien ship, and he's just like, gotta look into it. But calling it fucking now,
that'd be awesome. That would be incredible. If that
it's going to be.
I would watch a movie of that. That would be cool shit.
I mean, there's been a lot of rumors that it's gonna be a movie, and it sounds like the universal deal that's holding Hulk back from having a movie is going to end in 2023. So that's the case. 2024 World War Hulk, the setup from this show, that could be fucking awesome, especially if the show continues to just be good without all the world building stuff. But anyways, that's my Tim spoiler theory bullshit. Let us know in the comments below what bullshit theories you have. And any other questions you have and whatever. And let me know how wrong I am about Natalie Dormer, because I already know that I am. But tell me exactly how I'm wrong so at least I can know. I want to get educated about my ignorance. You know what I mean? Until next time, I love you all. Goodbye.